Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday, and it's time for Wrestling Inc.'s coverage of WWE Bash in Berlin. And have we got a show for you? Jade and Bianca won the tag team titles, CM Punk won the bracelet, and Gunther won the respect. We'll talk about all of that and more, but before we do, allow me to introduce the crew. I'm Jack Farmer, being joined by Flobo Boyce for what's set to be a dandy time, chatting about a great show. Flobo, how you doing?
You know, I'm kind of jealous. I'm kind of bummed I had to make a decision about whether or not I can be able to go to Bash in Berlin. I said no. Wrestling Inc. correspondent Emily May's in Berlin, so I got all the FOMOs, but I guess I'm okay hanging with you. It's a cool consolation. Yeah.
I am almost as good as a trip to Berlin. So I do feel like that's a pretty close thing. And I think it's close. One of the things that helps us get over that FOMO here, as I struggle to get my words out, is all the incredible people here who are joining us on this beautiful Saturday or Saturday evening, I guess, depending on where you're located. But like Justine and Stephen Camp coming through. Appreciate you guys. So many more. Hit the like, comment, share, subscribe button. You know, Flobo, I had a chat with Glenn yesterday.
The Glenn Rubenstein from Wrestling Inc.?
The one and the same.
Whoa.
I chatted about how he does not like the 30-second countdown, but I use the 30-second countdown. And I posed a question to our viewers, and I'm going to pose it to our listeners as well. Let us know, do you like the countdown? I think it's a great way to let the live viewing audience know the show is about to start. Glenn says that if you're listening later, it's just an annoying video you have to sit through or song you have to sit through. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, in the comments, or in the reviews after you hit 5 stars. What do you think, Flobo? Where will the people land?
Well, I'm not sure the people will land because I understand they go wherever you go, right? They love you, they love your hair, they love your smile. But if you're asking me, though, I'm always pro, theme songs, countdowns. You know, you and I, we do Draped in Gold every Wednesday in our little platform. We talk about NXT. There's some times where I hit that record button, I am not in the mood to entertain the masses. But when that beat drops, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. And so when we hear the Stuff the Wrestling Inc. theme, I get myself ready. I drink my last little sip. I know when we get going, we don't waste anyone's time with the welcome to the show. It's, yes.
I always feel like it's a little bit too shocking, and we're live if we don't have something going on.
Right.
Reaper Brink says 30-second countdown. Yes, 2 thumbs up. And Danny Cochran saying Draped in Gold is much better. Now that song,
hot take, I love it.
That song is a banger.
Fire pro in the house. Yep.
Victor saying Jack Farmer in here like money. Can't disagree with that. We do have the smartest co-hosts. I call you all the co-hosts here in the chat because you guys are really a part of the show. Justine A saying Jack and Flobo match with the blue. Justine, you have no idea. There was a comment about this. In fact, we both had blue collared shirts on, but we looked like the
Geek Squad. We were like
a
bus
squad. That's
cool.
We looked like the Geek Squad. So Flobo graciously changed his shirt. So we're still in blue though. We're still repping SmackDown, I guess, tonight.
The A show.
Lots of great stuff happened today, but I want to start at the very beginning before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this Bash in Berlin. Great show. I want to talk about the pre-show. I want to talk about what went on beforehand and how exciting. First off, this crowd was fire before the show even started. They were chanting for the broadcast team. They were chanting for everything they saw, but also the video packages. A lot more sports based, a lot more calm, more interview-esque. Talk to me a little bit about these pre-shows that WWE has been doing in their video packages.
Well, first things first, you say meat and potatoes. You got to tell me which favorite meat and potato combination after this. But yeah, Bash in Berlin could have been hard rock. I mean, European wrestling leans into that kind of music, leans into that kind of energy. People there were already hype. But whenever we talk about the wrestling craft and how it's evolving, how we want more sports-based presentation, this right here felt so much like a sports-based thing. Michael Cole was doing his inner Bob Costas talking to Randy Orton about what does it mean to actually get his rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I go, this feels like a real story. Like it feels like it's something that you would have plucked out if you were watching this from the ESPN lens. And it was great because once you couple that with the very loud loud and energetic European crowd, it does feel a bit special. We always ask, what does a PLE mean? What makes it premium? I think it's that.
The crowd is something that makes it so incredible. And you're right, these video packages, it's almost a shame. These video packages are so good, but you wonder how many people see them, how many people are watching the pre-show. In fact, in the chat, in the comments, let me know, are you someone that watches the pre-show before the PLEs? It's an interesting time where in the old days, they were there to sell you, to get the last ticket sales on pay-per-views. But now it's on Peacock. So if you're watching this, you're watching the show anyways. You have the show. So it's interesting to see the dynamics of how this works here.
I will say this. Here's my rule of thumb. We cover the show. So the answer is yes. But if I'm not on the show, I'm not covering it. If it's like the live desk somewhere and like Big E and Miz are talking, I'm on board. But when it's in that like green screen studio and it's like Peter Rosenberg, I'm like, I can get it later. I'm not to knock Peter Rosenberg. I mean, I was a former coworker of his, but I like the idea of getting the atmosphere before the show.
In general, I'm a fan of, if you can have live people there, have the live people there. If we could have a live audience, by the way, for these shows, I would want a live audience.
I wouldn't. They'll all cheer for you. That makes me sick.
That's why I think if they boo you, the more they boo you, the happier I am with the show. I love these pre-shows, though. I'm a big fan of them. I like to put it out there. I want to host one of these pre-shows one time. I want WWE to give me the call. I want them to say, Jack, we want you to fly out to Berlin or wherever the show is. I mean, it'd be weird if they were like, hey, it's going to be in Denver, but fly out to Berlin and stay as far away as you can.
I'll cheer for that.
That's one of my dreams. It's weird. I know some people say they want to hoist up the title at WrestleMania. I want to host a pre-show, or at least beyond the pre-show. I feel like I'd be a very good talent to have there. I'm good at hyping things up. I get excited about these shows beforehand. Yeah. In fact, famously, if you watch a show live with me, I'm a nutcase when I'm at the show. I get super pumped about them.
He does.
So I'd love to do that. And so everyone, I'm just going to shamelessly say it, throw it out there on social media. WWE, hire Jack Farmer for the next pre-show. I mean, we've seen Peter Rosenberg, as you said, we used to work with him over at The Ringer. We've seen other hosts of these podcasts make it onto these shows. I want to be the next one. I want to get the call up.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, and even though I do hate you in real life and in kayfabe, I just want to say, for example, I retweeted that statement you did on X because you have to say things. I'm not sure if you're into manifestation or vision boards or putting it out to the universe or whatever, but yeah, you got to say what you want, and then that way you can get what you get. So if someone sees it and they do hire you, I'm taking 10% to take.
10%'s a lot. We'll have to discuss that in a little bit. Fernando says, hire Jack Farmer now. And bring Flobo Boyce. We'll do a show together. It'll be gangbusters.
Yeah.
Danny Cochran says, Jack gets PLE Tacoma.
They would never get a PLE. And Michael Coleman, we're in the shadows of Seattle. We're not even there.
The former home of the Tacoma smokestack.
Tacoma.
Hey. I'm the street champion in Tacoma.
It's so rough and tumble. I would never go there. That's just so much.
Any place you call rough and tumble is not rough and tumble. Listen,
absolutely.
There are scary areas in Tacoma. I will have you know.
Sure.
I stay out of them. That's why I maintain my
like a real champ. Woo!
Ooh, it's scary over there. Man, what a great time. We've got a lot to cover here tonight. And I want to always make sure I give all of the credit to the people who tune in to listen to us and watch us and be a part of the show. Of course, I call you my co-host here in the chat. We got, I don't know how to pronounce this name, Flobo. It's Amdadu?
It looks that way. Dr. Amdadu.
Thanks for coming through. We also got Call Me. We got Buzz Wrong. We got
12%. I love that.
We got Justine, Danny Cochran, as always, Killer of Demons, Reaper Brink, Maestro Dog coming through. Maestro, you're hit or miss coming through sometimes. I need to see your attendance record go up, or it's going to affect your grades.
They're lurking. They're lurking.
Lurking here, but with the yes, and of course stalking you with the dog emoji. Carrie Johnson coming through, and we got Tony Karan and Jose and Victor saying Jack Farmer looked like money. I'm going to highlight it again. Why not?
No, it's why no. He
Perez,
says 12% for Flobo. You highlight the what about you? Hello.
Ricky Sinclair,
Excuse me.
Brianne Milligan coming through. Everyone's such awesome people. Ricky Zaldivar. Okay, Victor says 12% for Flobo. We'll put that up. Okay, 12% for Flobo. But that means my rate just went up.
Of course it does.
Gotta make
as long as I get paid more, everyone's fine.
Danny Cochran says downtown Tacoma is like I Am Legend with Patch.
Whoa. Champ.
So let's talk about Bash in Berlin. I always want to call it Bash at Berlin because I'm so used to Bash at the Beach. But guess what? We grow, we adapt, and we learn. We started this show off. Undisputed WWE Championship match. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. The story going in was, is Cody's knee okay? And will KO be the old KO? Eventually, Cody's knee buckles and KO almost goes old school, but eventually Cody gets the win. Now that we've seen it all, now that we know exactly how it all plays out, kind of walk me through, how did you feel about the build to this match, the match itself, the ending? Did it deliver for you?
So, a lot of times when wrestling fans stop being wrestling fans, when they kind of get off the wagon, which not to knock anyone, I think anyone who's been a lifelong wrestling fan, there's a couple of years you're allowed to skip. There are some people that would say, oh, I started reading the results. And to me, that's always a first step, right? On paper, this match made 0 sense. I want to give you a title shot. Why? Because you deserve it. Come on, Cody. You want to have someone to be worthy. Even Kevin Owens said that. My win-loss record wasn't good. But as it got towards the actual event, there was like, well, will Kevin Owens betray someone else? Can Cody overcome with his knee injury? And the actual match delivered. And I'm so glad it went on first for a bunch of reasons. One, we'll get to the other matches on the card that had a lot more of an organic build. But more importantly, it's like, look, Cody can come and still give you a big fight feel with someone who just basically got handpicked to be his opponent.
Yeah. I think that this shows in many ways that Cody Rhodes, in my opinion, is truly one of the best. And the best right now. Clearly, he's the champ, and you're the champ for a reason. And I think so. One of the best now for sure. But I mean, even going back farther than that, I don't want to throw around all time because that's when people get really worked up people from 1942 and things like that. But when I look at what he's able to do, he's able to find meaning in everything he does. And a lot of times there's not a lot to work with to find meaning with, and I know some people talk about Roman Reigns as a comparison, and look, he's up there as well. But Roman Reigns had a huge story built around everything he was doing. Cody Rhodes went into this with a cold, do you want to fight for the title?
Right.
And he still made it seem special. And I think it takes a very special kind of pro wrestler to do that. And he does it consistently. He did that. It seems like he's been doing it pretty much every match he's had outside of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, I guess, way before that. So Cody Rhodes to me is really starting to knock on the door of all-timer territory.
No doubt in my mind. That's not even going to be up for debate soon. I know we can talk about lists and who's number one, who's 1A and 1B, but when it all comes down to it, we talked about, and even the pre-show, the curse of being that good, being a hand. I remember when Big E and Miz were talking about that. When you're just good at any point in the card, you get kind of overlooked. But to do that as a champion, you have the grandest prize, no disrespect to the World Heavyweight Championship, but the WWE title is the title, right? So one with the history and lineage, and you're not necessarily the main focus post-Roman. You really got to make sure that in the ring you give people their money's worth, and it looked like they did.
I think looking back at how it started a little rough, and there were times during the build I questioned the build and I questioned where they were going with it. But now looking back, now that I have the whole story to look at, or at least the first chapter of the story to look at, I think this story was fantastic. I think it was very, very good. And the reason why is because the story was Kevin Owens had it won, but he couldn't pull the trigger on that apron power bomb because he wasn't the old Kevin Owens. And he questioned whether or not that was the right move. And Wade Barrett on commentary, one of the best, even brought it home by reminding us that the reason Kevin Owens hasn't had a title in so long is because he's unwilling to be that version of himself that did win the championships. Now, with the loss, with him thinking about this, Kevin Owens is now in a story about him and about his own character development. And for years, since probably that last championship run, every story Kevin Owens has been a part of has been about someone else. It's been about Roman Reigns. It's been about the bloodline. It's been about Sami Zayn. It's never really been about Kevin Owens. But now, after this story, they have set Kevin Owens up for a story, for a situation that is about him and his character and what he's going to do next. And I think this is the perfect example of getting over without going over. And I think Kevin Owens soon will be back in that position where he is a believable championship level character again. And that's why I think this is fantastic.
Well, you're wrong. He's done. He will never see Kevin Owens at that level again. He's going to go mad and go right down the card to build this thing up. That could be 6 to 12 to 18 months. Cody needs a brand new opponent. As much as we love KO, we never believed he was going to win. This year proves it. You'll never see him hit those numbers, those WWE 2K overall numbers ever again, Jack. Get used to it.
Well, that might not happen. I don't think he's going to be the next challenger. You're right. I think Cody goes on to somebody else. But Kevin Owens is going to go down a fascinating story. This is a Jack Farmer farmer's market pick by the dip.
You can't,
Kevin Owens.
You can't farmer's market pick a guy who's been in the business for 20 years.
You just said he's never going to make it up again. You just said he's never going to. I'm telling you, this story. This is like when the stock market dips, and that's when you buy. You get it at a discount. Right now, Kevin Owens just took a loss. I think Kevin Owens is going to grow from this. I think he's going to become better, and I think this time next year we're going to be like, wow, Kevin Owens is one of the most interesting characters in WWE.
That is the worst impression of me ever. But if that would be the case, I have to tell you I'm wrong. But again, it's one of those things where you just kind of knew was going to be the end. But that doesn't really solve the problem we had a month ago. And that is SmackDown is completely devoid of challengers. I know Solo's waiting in the wings but Solo has his own thing with Roman. But yeah, there really isn't a number 2 contender for the grandest prize in all of sports entertainment.
Can it really be called the grandest prize in sports entertainment if they doesn't have a clear contender?
Well, can a luxury hotel be luxury if no one's in it? I say so.
No, because no one's there.
Yeah, Mendy's will be there.
If a tree falls in the forest, no one's there to hear it.
Are we just doing like thought experiments? If a train leaves Berlin at 6 p.m., I don't know, man. The WWE title still counts for me, and it's important to me. Right now, though, there's no one around to take that brass ring.
Well, I think, like I said, like you said, Solo's next. Solo's already called next. So he's definitely going to get that shot. That'll be what fills Cody's time. And I think then Cody's going to deal with Rock or Roman or whatever that is. SummerSlam or Survivor Series is not that far away. By the way, this is just I'm someone who definitely gets very ahead of himself in this kind of stuff. I was thinking, August is done now. Now we're into September. That means I'm looking forward to like October and Halloween and Halloween's coming. That means it's holiday season. That means Christmas is right around the corner. And once Christmas is done, it's Royal Rumble. Oh my God, Flobo. Is it WrestleMania season already?
I hope so. Cause you know me, I'm totally a hater of Survivor Series. So yes, as soon as SummerSlam is over, bring on Mania or bring on the Rumble.
But I'm excited for where this will go for everybody involved. Last thing about this. Crossroads, is it the least effective top guy finisher of all time? I don't remember the last big match he's won with just one of them.
Oh, you mean like effectiveness as far as that? I think you mean like a good designed finisher. I was going to say, well, no, I really hate the Rhodes plant, what Bailey does.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think you need like 7 of them, right, to put someone down these days. Yeah,
I mean, outside of pretty easy matchups, like on weekly shows, it's always like at least 2 or 3. And he's I'd say as the top, he's a top guy. Like he always wins. This should be one of the most devastating finishers in the game. But
that was the biggest mistake, bringing the triple Crossroads when he came back to WWE. And I said that back at WrestleMania 39 in LA. It's like, whatever you do, just make that the one time, and at WrestleMania do multiples. But he does multiples at every PLE. You're kind of like, I think 4 took down AJ Styles, like 6 took down Roman Reigns. Like it's pretty egregious.
Maria says the backstabber looks very painless. I'll tell you, the backstabber, every now and again, maybe I'm getting that age, right? I feel like I got to pop my back. And every time I see that, I'm kind of like, actually, I kind of probably feel good. It probably like pop some joints in the back that might might be a little might be nice.
But the thing is, I don't understand the logic of it. It's, oh, my back hurts, I'm knocked out. Or is it my back is being attacked, so therefore I don't have the will to kick out anymore? I don't understand the logic behind that. You know,
I try not to overthink it.
I think overthinking is all the time. That's what we're being paid to do. Well,
there are
I'm being paid. I'm not sure what you're
there
doing.
are a few moves that bother me with the Spanish Fly bothers me. I'm not a fan of that one.
I hate all pump handles. What is pump handle? What does that mean? Except for Pete Dunne's bitter end, because he's Pete Dunne. But anytime someone does a pump handle, you're like, does that make it better or worse? That you sticking your arm? Well, never mind.
The fact that you admit that you are okay with it with Pete Dunne because you're a Pete Dunne fan is my favorite thing you've ever done in pro wrestling.
Just totally sold my point out.
That's the one. I think that's the closest we've ever been to agreeing on like a mindset in pro wrestling. Yeah, I get that. That's how I am.
It's Pete Dunne. Yeah.
You get away with it. I'm okay with that.
You get one. Yeah.
Russian leg sweep. I always think like you're both doing the same thing. Why is one of you hurt, the other one not?
Because I meant it for you. I don't know. I have no idea.
I feel like if you watched it from like a certain angle, you wouldn't even know who did the move. But
I almost didn't. I almost don't. And the only when the guy kicked out goes, "Yeah, I did it." I go, "Okay, it was the guy who did that."
Right. Yeah. So that's another one that always kind of bothered me.
The stroke.
Well, that's the other way. He turns him face forward.
Yeah, he does that. He starts and then he cancels and goes forward.
Yeah. Bam. The stroke. What a great move from a great period, from a great company.
Oof, I thought that was all debatable. That's all debatable. Not going to say what parts, but that's debatable.
So we have the next one is a championship match. By the way, Jose is saying 5-0 on predictions for WWE Bash in Berlin. I also want to give a shout out to Maestro Dog, by the way. I saw your message, and if you got a doctor's note, it won't affect your grade. So appreciate you coming through when you can.
Hell yeah.
WWE Women's Championship match, the Unholy Union of Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn going up against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. The Unholy Union tries to use trickery to get up on the powerhouses, but the powerhouses are too much and get a clean win to become the champs once again. Flobo, I feel like the fan favorites definitely won this one, but if you were the person with the pencil, do you think this was the right call?
Unfortunately, yes, but not the way you're thinking. First of all, shout out to the people over there in Berlin teaching me German as the night went on. I now know 1, 2, 3 is 1, 2, and 3. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But look, we talked about the problem of Bianca and Jade Cargill. That is just that good. And what can they possibly do? We also talked about the problem that Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn suffer by being tag team champs in arguably the weakest division in all of WWE. Not their fault, just the way it is. But I will say this. You talk about the competitive nature of that division and who needs to be next to really do a formidable challenge. I got a feeling when it comes down to long reigns, effective reigns, it's going to be the PFC, Pure Fusion Collective. And they have to get a win that makes them go, oh no, this paradigm has been shifted. And what better way to do that than to challenge Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair after a match like this? So I think it's the right answer. I think that's the next step for the women's tag team titles. Shout out to Isla Dawn and Alba Fyre for their run, but the right people won here tonight.
Yeah, as a fan of NXT UK, I was really rooting for the Unholy Union to do well. But I agree, it feels like in pro wrestling, you got to put the titles on the biggest stars sometimes, and the biggest stars are Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. But like I've said many times, I see no one in the division that looks like, if I see anyone across from them on a poster, I'm not really that intrigued because I feel like Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are going to steamroll them. There's no one in that division that doesn't look like it's going to basically be I hate these words, squash match, but it's like, who are they going to face that you're not just like, oh man, they're going to get steamrolled here. And Pure Fusion Collective makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're struggling with damage control, a broken damage control.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they look like they're the part either. Because if you can barely get by a damage control that is fractured and broken, then Bianca and Jade are going to just crush you. I don't believe it for a second. So it's a tough spot. And I don't know how many times I can get really hyped about these two in a match against Catanzaro and Chance. You
Are
know,
you talking about PFC or Jade and
I'm sorry.
Bianca?
Well, either of them really.
Fair enough,
But in
fair
this
enough.
case, I meant Jade and Bianca, like because they have to defend these titles along the way, also, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's going to be the problem is that, yes, there is a conventional wisdom to have the titles on them because they're going to be that good, but they're going to be very quickly turned on by being boring. Is not really dominant, that kind of thing, too. We like having strong people win championships until they win championships. You want people to fight from underneath. So I do think putting on PFC, even though they're not really winners right now, will probably help them and elevate the titles in a way they have a built in feud with Damage Control. But to answer your question about Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray and Alba Fyre, excuse me, and NXT UK, I don't know what the Unholy Union is because they're not as witchery or spooky as before, but they're also not like rebel revolutionaries like how Kaylee Ray was when she was Kaylee Ray. They're kind of in this middle space right now, and I think that's what's kind of hard for me to think of them as a complete idea rather than as two women stuck together.
I agree with that as well. I was hoping one of the reasons I wanted them to have a good long title reign is I feel like I'm a big fan of both these two, the Unholy Union, and I thought a title reign could be something that would help them get more established. Unfortunately, they did not keep the titles for very long, and so now, kind of at ground zero, can they bounce back? I see Maestro Dog saying Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair as an option for a team. This is the thing. I've seen this before. And this is weird, Flo, but I see this a lot actually as an option. A lot of people have the belief in a tag team to be very dominant that isn't even a tag team, and there's been no hint of the teaming, and one of them hasn't been on TV in months.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. I on paper the idea seems like it makes sense, but this is totally random. I mean, I might as well say, what if we get Raquel Rodriguez and Mickie James?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, sure, I guess, maybe.
I think that's a lot of things that wrestling fans do, and this also includes Jade and Bianca because they're very similar archetypes, right? Both Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair are athletic, they're blonde, they have a little bit more of stamina than most people. Let's put them together. This is the problem I had with putting Jade and Bianca Belair before together in the first place. Now, they're great. They're going to sell a bunch of merch, but it does feel like these two massive super mega powers are just coming down, literally calling themselves a storm, and no one has a chance, right? You want to be able to be an entry to a strong division. You can't dominate from step one and go, well, now what? And so as much as I like Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, ain't gonna last. The queen works alone.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Tiffany works alone too. It doesn't look that way on SmackDown right now, but we all know what's coming.
Betrayal.
DJ David Bunny says Jade should turn on Bianca soon. I mean, I feel like we're all waiting for that shoe to drop. But
David Bunny's a dope name, by the way, for a DJ name. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Peter Rabbit? Nah. David
Bunny. Christopher Suarez says Kevin Nash, Triple H, HBK, Kane, Undertaker, Bash, guys.
Stop. What, dude, what is this troll? For months, Christopher Suarez says nothing about the guys but the Click. Why? What does it mean? What are you trying to tell us? It's like a Wyatt 6-bit. Tell us, what do you mean? The Click existed, but you say it out every video.
Well, Christopher, he added Bash, guys, at the end. So we're getting a little. It is. You're right. It is very Wyatt 6 in that it is.
Stop entertaining this.
We're getting a little bit more each and every week, and who knows where this is going.
I don't even care anymore. Christopher, just tell us what you're trying to say. If this
leads to a Mountain Dew Electric Purple or whatever it was called match.
Was it Blackout or something? A Blackout match?
Like if we get the like sponsorship, I'm here. But maybe I don't know. Maybe these are the guys watching the show. Maybe Kevin Nash, Triple H, HBK, Kane, and the Undertaker are watching the show. Maybe they're watching together. Like, that'd be kind of fun. Gathered around a computer.
And only one guy knows about this, and it's Christopher Suarez. Is that what it is?
He's the one that has to show them how to use the computer, because I still imagine they're like those old now GIFs where they're like typing with 2 fingers.
Where's the G key? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to a match that was probably one of the more highly anticipated matches of the evening. Strap match, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Drew attacks Punk before the bell rings, and it's a brawl. Punk gets cut open, but the brawl continues with Punk hitting multiple go-to-sleeps, getting his bracelet back, and getting the win. Flobo, this was I feel like this was probably, like I said, probably one of the more highly anticipated matches, probably one of the biggest stories going into the matchup. I thought this was a good one. Tell me what you thought about how this all played out.
Triple H, HBK. No, I'm kidding. I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty solid, man. And I think you and I both were in agreement about the way it was structured. Right, this is a strap match. This is a stipulation we hadn't seen in a while. It's being cycled back in. Punk was undefeated in them, and we got the practical lights on each of the ring corners, which for me serves two purposes. One, it really helps casual fans understand what it means to win a strap match. That's something I was confused about when I was a kid, when someone would like get two and they'll get attacked, but it count and it didn't. And also for our people out there who are trying to be inclusive or have intellectual disabilities or neurodivergent, the gamification of seeing 2 lights, 3 lights, and one more to go can actually add to the tension. So it made things awesome. It's sad for Drew McIntyre fans because he's winless in Europe PLEs, as we know by that stat. Thanks to the stats guys on this one.
Yeah.
But perfect placement for this match. It was a stipulation. It wasn't a lame stipulation like last man standing, like I said, hot take. And CM Punk finally gets a dub.
It was, yeah, I always want to say people who complain about wins and losses, a lot of times people will be like, oh man, this person doesn't win. They're never going to get over. CM Punk is really only won a single match in 10 years, and he's still pretty popular. So
that is not
totally okay.
Whoa.
If you don't win a lot of matches.
You cover AEW. He was there for years.
Where? This is we're talking WWE. This is,
Jump to a portal, whole different thing. But yes, first win in some time. I'll put it that way.
Fernando says best strap match in 10 years. Which one was the last best strap match, Fernando?
True. Because this
got a
one,
feeling you're saying if it was CM Punk again, I feel like you're just a CM Punk fan.
True. Because I was going to say, well, the Brahma Bull Rope match, I was like, no, Bull Rope match is actually pin or submission. So I don't know. Because there were some pin and submission strap matches, right? When Triple H and I don't know.
Actually, this might be the last strap match in 10 years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now that I think about it, I don't remember the last time they did one where is CM Punk the last one
that I can think of. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. So a lot of people think that this is an overused stipulation, but they've never done anything like this in 10 years.
But to be fair, like I said in my text messages, I was getting tired of last man standing matches because it was kind of like overdone. Yeah. If the strap match replaces the last man standing in like the stipulation like menu, then I'm happy for it because I think it's a cool way to keep things fresh, but getting the same idea of like not having the will to fight or whatever.
Yeah. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the comments, let me know if you'd like to see more strap matches. I agree with you on the lights on the turnbuckle. I saw social media was split on the lights. I loved them.
Well, they suck.
It was easy to. I like that it was easy to see where people were at or how many more they had to get, and it just kept it very clear and very easy, as opposed to just sometimes when you watch these old ones, you're like, wait, is that the 3 or is that I don't know. I enjoyed it. I like seeing it. It just made it very easy to keep track of what was going on. So I definitely enjoyed it. Ricky Sinclair with a great idea. Add it to 2K25.
Fins up. Smart man.
There we go. Conventional wisdom, Flobo, says that there needs to be a third match between these two.
Mm-hmm.
But this felt pretty definitive at the end of the day. I mean, there's like 3 go-to-sleeps in a row. Drew McIntyre knocked flat out. Completely fair. Punk gets the bracelet back. Do you want to see a rematch in the short term? I mean, obviously, these guys will probably have another rematch down the road, but like, do you want to see one in the short term? Do you want to see this continue, or are you ready to move on from this one?
It sucks because you're right. There should be a final chapter. There's 1-1 apiece. These guys can go, but I do think they're running out of time. You're heading to the fall season. You're heading into war games. You're heading into the thing. I really think we should go in different directions. Drew McIntyre is going to lose this conflict anyway because he's the aggressor of taking CM Punk's trinkets and all of that. So why not try to build him back up as you can? So I can see them doing both ways. As a fan, I want to see it done one more time, but also understanding that Punk is not going to be here forever. I actually want to see him go through other people in the roster. If CM Punk took on Braun Breaker, I want to see that match as well.
Yeah, I think it's time for them to kind of go their separate ways because I don't know. And this is my next question for you. By the way, Fernando says Austin Savio Vega actually strap match. So that's a good call. So
That's actually what I
okay,
remember. Yeah, those were
I
weeklies.
just want to make sure you weren't saying it because CM Punk's was 10 years ago, and I thought you were just trying to be coy about CM Punk has all the best strap match. And the one before that was the Ohio Valley Wrestling Championship match. CM Punk,
Which I did not see, but I'll pretend like I did to make myself look cool.
The Drew McIntyre, he's in a tough spot here. Both these guys, I guess the downside to an emotional rivalry like this is someone has to lose, but they have to find a way to bounce back. How does someone like a Drew McIntyre move on from this?
Well, the quick answer will be gold, right? Whether it's the IC title or the World Heavyweight Championship, you attack the champion and say, I want next. And that's the way you can like put a loss behind you. But the question does remain, Drew McIntyre, historically, since his last contract renewal, has been on the losing end of things. I mean, ever since he lost Angela the Sword, he hasn't quite been the same. And we love him on Twitter, we love him on Facebook, but all that matters is in the ring. So I don't know. I think that there should be a couple of minnows that you feed him to. But if I'm Drew McIntyre, definitely go for something bigger so people don't remember you got your ass beat in Berlin.
So you think maybe a couple of easy peasy rivalries, he can run people over?
I think that's going to be the most likely thing. But if I'm Drew himself, I go Monday and say, I want Braun or I want Gunther now.
Ricky Sinclair, with something that's been, I think, is very accurate. Drew tried to move on. That heel, CM Punk, decided he wanted more.
What the? He had, not only did he have his bracelet, he put it in his trunks. That is the most dastardly thing another man could do to other man's stuff, is put it near his junk. I'm sorry. Drew McIntyre's the heel here. Danny
Cochran then with a great question. Why would you kiss the bracelet after it's been in Drew's drawers?
That is the most weirdest thing a guy could. I don't know, man. It's a plot hole. I don't know. It's like if you use a towel the next day, it disappears all the dirt from the day before. I have no idea.
So let me know in the chat what you think's next for Drew. A lot of people are saying they think, and this has been a rumor online I've seen for a while, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, which could possibly happen. But now I don't really know. I can't imagine Drew McIntyre doing another month of "you've taken everything from me," CM Punk. Like, I think we're past that.
Yeah, they're out of story. The thing is, about the match happens, we'll see the match. But as far as the story is concerned, you beat up Punk in Chicago. Punk got his comeuppance, or Drew McIntyre got his comeuppance. The story is eventually over unless you introduce something else, like bringing in AJ or something, or going to Drew's family or whatever.
Yeah. Who's next for Punk? Let's say they move on. What do you want? What would you have Punk do next?
So the thing is about my Drew McIntyre thing is I want that for Punk. I really want Punk in the IC division. I think Braun Breaker does need someone to match with him because he's such a physical beast. I want to be able to see Braun get dominated intellectually on the microphone and have that be the story of the match, whether it's someone who's a talker like CM Punk or The Miz, but come on, The Miz is not going to win the IC title again. So I would say that as well. So I kind of wish whoever's from this angle ends up going to the IC division thereafter.
Interesting. We'll see. Yes, I saw in the chat a moment ago recommending Drew versus Gunther next, but Drew can't get a title shot right after losing.
Why not?
That's weird.
It is weird, but how many times you turned on Raw and I won. Hey, I'm Drew McIntyre. I had a bad weekend, but I won your title. And you just go with it. You go, okay, makes sense.
I mean, we do. And I usually forget about that stuff fairly quickly, to be fair.
Adam Pierce is like, it's official. That's all he does. And done and done.
Ricky says Punk to SmackDown. Cody is waiting. I got a feeling they want Punk on Raw for Netflix.
Okay, so I got to talk up to you about this because both you and Glenn Rubenstein, the OGs, I guess, of the Wrestling Inc. fam, are very adamant about networks and what they want. And is there really a conscious effort to be like, well, man, this platform needs this? Or are we just saying that because we're pundits and we got to be like, okay, that'd be kind of cool for this channel?
I'm not as into it as you think I am, but I just imagine that if you're trying to get a lot of people to jump to a whole new streaming service, and because it's not just changing channels, it's a whole different, animal, and you're trying to make your statement over there, I think you're going to lean in really hard to get people to make that jump. Because then the long-term plan, I'd assume, has to be in a few years to bring SmackDown over to streaming as well. And you're going to want your audience familiar with it.
It's Netflix though. I feel like I'm going to Fubo TV or I'm going to Tubi. It's like the big mamma jamma of all streaming services.
It's still, we're still talking about a show that's been on USA almost entirely outside of a short period, its entire run since the 90s. So this is a pretty big move, I think. And you're going to want someone who's going to stop. Plus, you've already got Cody on SmackDown. I think Cody and Punk are your two biggest draws at this point, as far as people are going to be there regularly. Wow. But I don't know how regular Punk is going to be there.
Wow, you're a Gunther hater, Damien Priest hater. Okay.
They don't bring the eyeballs like old CM Punk does.
Best in the world.
They're getting there though. Speaking of Damien Priest. Terror Twins, Damien Priest and Rhea Ripley take on.
Don't call them that. Don't call them that. Stop.
The Terror Twins.
Don't. I said don't.
The highly popular name, Terror Twins. Crowd was hot for this one. Eventually, Judgment Day gets involved, but Priest lays them out, and Rhea gets a satisfying pin on Liv Morgan. Flobo Boyce, Terror Twins, best name ever. 1 or best name ever 1A.
Between them and Pure Fusion Collective, I'm just absolutely torn. I don't understand. Terror Twins sounds like, 1, a tag team, like a normal tag team, and 2, a comedy tag team. But okay, Terror it is. The match itself was great, but I don't want to say that. It's Damien Priest. It's Rhea Ripley. That name is dumb. D-U-M, dumb. But the crowd really hit a Dominik. That's amazing to show how in the world of heels they get cheered, how rare it is to have a bad guy get booed. It's always kind of cool to see.
By the way, Punk versus Walter versus Gunther. His name's Gunther. It's been Gunther for 100 years.
I like it.
I'd like to see Punk get slapped around.
You're the biggest Punk hater ever. What did CM Punk ever do to you? And the thing is,
I'm not a CM Punk hater.
Well, hold on. This is what I don't like. You always take me to task every week. Now it's my turn. Why do you hate CM Punk so much? Why do you want to see him lose? Why do you want to see him get beat up? Why?
Because everyone loves him, and I like everyone being disappointed when he gets beat up.
That is the biggest heel promo ever. Everyone likes him. Who is the fairest of them all? Not Jack Farmer. That's who. What? Are you kidding me?
Because no other fan base is more disappointed than CM Punk fans when CM Punk doesn't win. And that's why I like to see him lose, because they get so upset. And that's what I like about it.
At least when I say I hate Sami Zayn, it's because ska music. That music's terrible.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, ska's awful. But come on, man. CM Punk is, whether you like him or hate him, he's an icon now. Roll with him.
Ska is a top 100 music genre.
That is the very low part of clear. What's number 99? Polka? Are you kidding me?
I didn't say it was number 99. I didn't say it was number 100. I said the top 100.
Top 100. 101.
No, it's gotta be you got the beat, you got the specials, you got Less Than Jake. Yes, Streetlight Manifesto.
Stop.
Don't
you dare put Street and some. Don't you dare put those things. They're not real ska.
You've got Madness.
Anyway, Real Big Fish.
I clearly just Googled this. So I was
Sublime. You're just a hater, man. Punk is awesome. I'm not the biggest Punk fan, but he's shown this run, this grizzled old vet kind of thing. I'm on board. Buy the merch.
By the way, we have in the chat. KOD says, I don't hate Punk, although he did steal AJ Lee from me.
Jack's like, I saw it happen with my own 2 eyes. I was there.
We got Fernando says Terror Twins is a good, solid name.
No, it isn't. They're not a tag team. They're an alliance.
Secular Bell says Jack is jealous of CM Punk's hair. That's not the case.
I think so.
All.
Yeah, I think so.
Because
he can shave it and it goes back the same way. Can you do that?
It's true. I will say,
I do hate him. Yeah.
CM Punk is one of those guys. Karrion Kross is another one of these guys that their hair grows at a rate that seems unrealistic. Like, Punk will shave his head, and then 2 weeks later, he has like the full slick back hair again. You're like, how did that happen?
No idea.
And Karrion Kross has different hair, like Mr. Potato Head. Every time he's on TV, it's a different whole facial hair combination. I don't know how he does it.
The man bun with the mullet, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next, like, I swear, Karrion Kross had a shaved head 2 months ago, and now he's got like the whole thing. I don't know how he does it.
What can he do?
Danny Cochran says for today, Jack and Flobo are the Terror Twins.
I'm not claiming that name. That's lame. Terror Twins? They're the good guys. And what terror are there somehow? Forget it. They're not even spooky. They're just people with tattoos.
Ace asks if I'm mad I didn't get an interview with CM Punk. I did not get an interview with CM Punk. I'd like to chat with CM Punk.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You would totally bury him. I like it when you lose. And that's it.
Do you think that your fans cry the hardest when you lose?
I can see that happening. It's a one-question interview. This interview's over.
People just get so behind him. It's
that's what we do, Jackery. We get behind people we like. Why do you hate that?
I don't hate it. It's just I love anarchy. I love the anarchy that comes when something doesn't.
Oh yeah, I see your face. Definitely anarchy lover. That's exactly what I think of. It's a coma. You son of a gun.
When something goes bad for CM Punk, I just feel like, let's go to Twitter.
That's why they locked you out last week. They're like, this guy is totally a troll. It's for the safety of all mankind.
So we have Danny Cochran says, I hate Punk. Secular Belt says, I am also jealous of CM Punk's hair.
Fair.
Maestro says it's a weave.
My extensions. Best in the world.
Oh, man. Let's talk about the actual match of the Terror Twins versus the Judgment Day. Good guys got a good dominant win here. Do you think this was the right call? It felt very good in the moment, but I also feel like now when they get their eventual singles matches, which I think clearly is going to happen, takes a little bit of the steam out of the revenge, doesn't it?
I actually disagree because the title was on the line. So Rhea has that momentum. And if I had the pen, that next one-on-one match, you'll find a way to screw Rhea Ripley in a way we didn't see coming. And that makes it just a little bit more frustrating for someone who's chasing that championship back. But I will say, Liv taking the pin today was the perfect because she was like walking around like she was like drunk afterwards. And I thought, oh man, that is selling that home to a T.
By the way, Ricky does not think it was the right call. KOD says, God forbid we ever do the fusion dance. Is that the thing where we do this?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if you can do that.
Let's do it.
Nope,
for a live audience. Come on.
Nope.
Hit the fusion dance.
I don't do it. I will never fuse with you. I refuse to fuse.
This is why everyone likes to see bad things happen, Flobo.
I refuse to fuse.
You refuse to fuse. That is totally a bumper sticker. That is a bumper sticker that is about something that was big for 1 week, years and years and years ago, that you see driving on an old car, and you're like, refuse to fuse. What was that about?
It's a long story.
It's a bit. Fernando says we're going to be the Blue Brothers.
I'll take it.
Jazz.
Only if I'm Eli.
Okay, well, let's. Okay. I'll tell you what bothered me about this matchup.
What bothers you?
Rhea Ripley should have been disqualified.
Okay, I agree.
I don't like the referee using referee's discretion. On Wrestling Inc., we are very anti-ref's discretion.
Get over it because the ref the match was final. 1, 2, 3. Or Eins zwei dry. It's done.
This is how you should be a political. You should be in politics, and that should be your campaign. Get over it.
Get over it. Vote for me.
Flobo, I want to call into question your experience. Well, get over it.
Get over it. I refuse to fuse.
I say we don't understand what he means by that, but it's easy to chant. Refuse to fuse. Refuse to fuse.
Just like desisting everything. Just desist.
And that's how Flobo became president. Is everyone just?
I love it. I know I'm old, Danny. Come on.
Yeah, he just showed his age. Yeah, you never know. He's an old soul. He just knows his older programming. Mm-hmm. So, any takeaways from this? I mean, I feel like it's interesting. This one felt, and this is a good thing for WWE. This felt like a really hot match. Felt like something a lot of people are looking forward to, but at the same time, feels like it's only the middle of the story, which is rare in pro wrestling.
Yeah, you kind of need that to bleed over, right? The Liv Dom thing is amazing because we never saw it coming. It's kind of a unique story, a fresh one. I'll try to stretch this out as much as I can, especially with New Judgment Day. Try to figure out what they have to do, what their mission is. But yeah, we're going to see part 2. I think the next PLE is Bad Blood, so hopefully we get that going too. But it won't end until Rhea gets her title back, I would assume.
Last thing on this I'll say is, and we texted about this, it's interesting you go back in time and you try to imagine when Liv Morgan was struggling to find a place on the roster, and sometimes it felt like she was forced into certain positions. And then you look at Dominik Mysterio when he was teaming with Rey Mysterio, his dad, and people are like, this guy doesn't have it. He needs to go to NXT. And it's weird to go back in time and imagine telling yourself, no, these two are going to be one of the hottest stories in pro wrestling. And Dom is going to be one of the most over people, and Liv. What are you putting?
Come on, make it about me in a second, but continue.
You love to make it about you.
Always.
Just go for it.
Hey, what do I always say about wrestling? What's the most important thing? Character, because you can argue. No, I'm not fusing. You could argue that Dominik and both Liv do less in the ring than they did 2-3 years ago. I mean, when Liv was fighting Ronda Rousey, she was doing every move in the WWE 2K guidebook, and nobody cared. But now her being a vixen, I'm laughing because of what JR would call her in the situation if he was on commentary. And then Dominik having some. Yes, it would. Dominik over there in NXT, I thought he would be good there, but being able to grow his hair out and the mullet out to have people think about that ladder match about 20 years ago, to them, it's all character development, and that's why we are invested in what they do. And even though they do less in the ring, everyone's better for it.
Yeah. Well, you also weren't a huge fan of them and you wanted to move on from them a long time ago, so you'd have missed this. So I'll take that away from you too.
Wow. Probably love ska music.
Last thing, I said the other thing was last thing, but we got a question from Killer of Demons asking, do you guys think Rhea and Priest need more people to help them out with other members like Zelina, Jey Uso, Sammy? I'll take this first. You can chime in too, Flobo, but I say no, because Damien Priest basically wrecked the whole team by himself. At this point, if they had backup, then Judgment Day doesn't stand a chance.
Absolutely. Terror Twins, that's right, I said it, should be a loose alliance where it's kind of like, hey, I need you, want to combine, good thing for the live event circuit. They should not be a permanent faction. It should not be a permanent tag team for a bunch of reasons. Too many factions. They're on split divisions. Rhea is kind of dominant on her own when she's focused on that title. Keep them separate.
Do you think that they should separate going forward? I mean, they can still be like friendly, but like not in the same. Like Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are friends, but they're not in promos and stuff together.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of those things where, like, if you want to have like a New Year's Eve Raw or something, put them together. The Terror Twins are going to be live, but I wouldn't try to have them have a mixed tag team run, especially now with the tag team divisions, both male and female, not quite the strongest what it needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to our main event here. Ricky Sinclair with an interesting comment. Why is the likes to watching ratio so off? Like if you're watching. Yeah, hit the like button while you're here.
Maybe they hate you.
I think it's probably because of your attitudes towards making everything about yourself.
That's okay. Well, I did do that, so I can't say it's not true.
Okay, here. You guys, I can see the like counter. I want to see it go. If we hit the fusion.
That's not going to happen.
Come on. Let's see what happens. Hit the fusion. Hit the fusion, and
I'm not doing it.
We'll see what the likes do. Come on.
Nope.
No.
People are leaving the show.
Just put the tips of your fingers, right?
Not doing it. I refuse.
All right. We get to the main event. World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton dominates early. Gunther fights from underneath, and after a fight, Gunther chokes out Randy Orton. Big win, possibly the biggest win of Gunther's entire career, which is saying something considering the guy's been a champion longer than he hasn't been. Mm-hmm. And the two shake hands after, as commentary reiterates, this is very similar to Triple H and Ric Flair shaking Randy Orton's hand after their matches.
I like this story a lot. Technically, I liked how Randy Orton made his entrance. It looked like he was from another movie, which is pretty cool to see. But I like the fact that okay, you have Gunther who's supposed to be a heel, so you have to give him heel tendencies. So over the past 2 months, he's been classist and saying you're not good enough, you're a screw up or whatever. And that was kind of cheap, but I get it. But the idea at the end of the day, no matter how much you heard about Randy Orton did when he was younger, or how much of kayfabe you want to put into wrestling or take out of it, it still worked because at the end of it, it was like, hey, look, I still respect the fact you respect the ring that I do, just in a different way. And that to me was like, mwah, anime, roll credits. See you next week on One Piece. I loved it. I loved every minute moment of it. The crowd was hot. Decibel meters were 104. If anything, I think these PLEs are doing so well for the tourism aspect. I want to be in that Berlin crowd next time they come back. I think it hit all the marks here.
There was one point where the decibel reader actually got up to 112. I don't know how accurate that reader is. It might
parts unknown, brother. Parts unknown.
Yeah, it might just be a parts unknown thing. I was actually wondering since they've been doing that, I wonder what the highest decibel reading they've ever done is.
I don't know
because I've not kept track, but now starting now I will. 112 was the high. It peaked for just a second, went bleep, and then it went back.
Can I ask you a question? As far as like your feel, your instincts, do you give Berlin the edge over France or the opposite?
I go France.
Mm-hmm. Why so?
I thought France felt. I think it was a little bit more consistent, and I think it just felt louder. It could be a miking issue, by the way, as you know. We've been in buildings where the show sounds incredible, and then you get back and you rewatch, and you're like, "Oh my god, we sound so quiet."
Yeah, Bakersfield.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that it wasn't where it was in Bakersfield. I mean, that is where Korn started their third tour.
There's a plaque to the effect outside.
There's a giant plaque to commemorate Korn starting a tour there. Not like their first tour or their last tour, just a tour started in Bakersfield.
Right here in Bakersfield.
And it's a big plaque. Like when you look at it, you're like, oh man, did something happen here? Is this like
yeah?
You're like, is this where the first gold in California was found? It's right here. Let me go check it out. No.
Just Korn.
It's just Korn with a K.
A long guitar strap.
Oh man, Korn, one of the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
I love this matchup. This was right up my alley. I love good old-fashioned wrestling matches like this, and I agree with you. I love that they shook hands after it, and it's one of those things that it's weird, like the rarity of like when Brock Lesnar endorsed Cody Rhodes. You're like, wow, that never happens, and how important that was. Randy Orton's similar. He doesn't shake everybody else's hands. He's not one of these guys that loves to throw out respect, and how important that was that he did that, and how I think important that was for Gunther in that moment to have that in his home country. I think that was incredible. And I was surprised Gunther worked kind of as the good guy here, and he pulled up. Gunther could be a good guy.
Yeah, it's funny because they think, oh, they're going to Germany, it's going to be this giant advantage, but I was a little bit concerned because if you look at a map, Berlin is like in northeast, or it's in western, but it's the northeastern part of the map of the landmass, and Austria is south, so it's like a whole cultural thing. So I was a bit concerned to see how much of a hero Gunther would be, but at the end of it, despite the fact that he was a heel, despite the fact that his theme song is a downgrade over Randy Orton's, I think you can't knock the style of what he was doing in the ring. Every punch hurt, every move and hold looked devastating, and you just have to respect it. That was last year, KOD.
I have so much. Something that I was watching this about, and this is something for you older wrestling fans will get this, or people who've been watching for a while. As a youth, you don't think this way, but I was watching this, and as I said to you, Flobo, on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on text, this could be Randy Orton's last title match. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, there's Cody. He's got to have a match against Cody. Maybe, but what about, him and Cena? We don't know if there's going to be for the title. There's a lot of stuff and Randy Orton, again, one of those guys that I think is already one of the all-time greatest. He's in my top 10, personally. I don't know about yourself, but this might be his last championship match. And it's one of those things where certain people, every time they perform, and I think Randy Orton's one of them, you kind of have to take a moment to appreciate that this might be the final time.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind with Randy Orton's age and injury history and the kind of the old school sensibility of being like, it's okay if you fade away. And even heard that podcast he did with Cody Rhodes on his sweet truck. It was like, yeah, if I'm done, I want to be done, and then I'll retire, and then I'll do the Hall of Fame stuff later. Like it doesn't really have to be someone who chases glory. You don't really have to do the whole it's my last run with someone like Orton. It could be almost like a Stone Cold Steve Austin thing where he just has the match. And that's it. You never see him in the ring again. So you're absolutely right. Randy Orton's another one. Like Triple H, he was a guy that was so good at being a bad guy. I was always neutral on him. And that last injury from the bloodline, and we came back, I was like, no, this is the victory lap. No matter how long it's going to be, you got to be able to cheer, sing his song. Thanks so much, France. It's just getting that little tradition started now. They're singing his theme song. It's amazing because you don't know how much time he has.
Something happened here. I wish our old pal Jimmy Corderas was here. I have to bring this up. He loves to get upset about referees' discretion, Flobo, but we got a lot of referees' discretion on this show. And in fact, even in this main event, they were on the outside, supposed to be counting. Commentary even called it out. Charles Robinson not counting, using referees' discretion here. I'm sure Jimmy Corderas would be none too happy. But Flobo Boyce, how do you feel about the old referee's discretion situation? Are you okay with it? Are you crabby about it? Where do you fall?
Well, all due respect to referee Corderas, to Jimmy Corderas. If I get this wrong, you can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. But I think there's certain times where it makes sense, like in a soccer match or a football game. I'm not sure what you guys call it in Europe. There's sometimes called advantage, where you have the ball, you're fouled, but they let you go because you're on the way to score. And I think if it's a main event of a world title and you want to have a winner, then it's okay. Because the last thing you want is have the last match be a double DQ, no contest. See you next week, Berlin. Hey! But that said, if you had a show where there was so much discretion happening, then I'll start flipping tables. So maybe I was fine with this. I don't know.
So for the record, I don't care. Like, whatever. I just want to
For the record, I don't care. That's your political candidate run. For the record, I'm on the record, right? I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Vote for me.
Jack, you have no political experience either. For the record, I don't care.
Jack. He likes God.
Jack, it seems like you take a lot of money from people. What's that about? I don't care. It's fine. I don't care.
Get over it.
Get over it. So Him Jong-un says, I like Jack, but not Flobo. Is there a half like button? Just
okay, show it to me if you find it, because I will definitely.
I know one way we could get it is if we just
get over it. I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. I swear to God, I'm refused. I will quit Wrestling Inc. right now. I will quit after next week.
Oh,
no,
my goodness.
Oh, I was going to, but yeah. Where are you, man?
Yeah, Secular Belt says, I don't care. First, get over it. Yes, that's a campaign I'd like. Political pundits are like, surprisingly, this is the most honest campaign.
It happened already.
So I know this is a great show. I love these middle of the day Saturday shows, and I love how WWE keeps them just nice and tight, and you know how long they're going to be. And as soon as you get that fatigue, it seems to start to go away. Flobo, as we wrap up, and everyone in the chat, let me know kind of your final thoughts. Under a Rock or on Fyre right now, and
I forgot about that.
Where can we find you online?
I want to say Fyre. Yeah, we're kind of spoiled in some ways being here on the West Coast because we get to have these at 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. But question for you before I wrap this up. Selflessly or selfishly, where would you like a PLE to be? Yeah, boy, in the future.
Tacoma, Washington.
No, a real place that people actually want to go to and not go. I'm not going that crap.
To the rainy streets of T-Town, baby. Tacoma, Washington.
I mean, international PLEs. Forget Tacoma. That place sucks.
As of now, they are
Vancouver.
International is Tacoma. That's a different nation than where they're at currently.
You know what? If you say something lame like, well, East Seattle is kind of its own world. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Well, for me, jerk, it's South America. Hopefully you go to a South American tournament, maybe like Argentina or Chile. It'd be kind of fun. But all right, anyway, love the show. I thought it was pretty hot. If I was there, I probably have my money's worth for sure. I'm not sure what the scale are. I want to say it's a Fyre, maybe a little bit of Fyre of a half. But I will say this is not an event where you can read the results because the results are kind of bland. So if you have someone who didn't like it and they said I read the results, don't trust them.
Danny Cochran says Puyallup, Washington. They could do it right out of the Puyallup Fairgrounds.
That's even worse. That's even worse. Live Puyallup.
So, yeah, I thought this was a great show. I thought it was on fire right now. I agree with the...
Stop.
I agree.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I agree with what you said about the results because this is, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday on the SmackDown after show. WWE is in a spot where they can take these shows that are so typically we would look at as mundane or pointless or predictable or whatever, and just make them so fun and make them so engaging and entertaining. So much of this show we saw earlier, I got a perfect prediction record, 5-0 and stuff. That can be looked at as predictable, but it's still fun. It's still fun to go through this. Like, kind of figured CM Punk was going to win. Kind of figured Gunther was going to win. Right. You know, a lot of these, they weren't super hard to predict, but they're still super fun. And WWE has really figured that formula out. Now, as far as I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat, Victor, Maestro, and Killer Demons, and Sonny, and Secular, and Danny, and Fusion. Come on, last time. We got a fuse.
No, I don't know. I want for fuse. Nope. Damn it. I don't it.
So that does it for us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Flobo, you're hosting a show here on Wrestling Inc. for the...
There you go.
You gotta let it perfect.
Is it that way? Is this way?
No, other way.
This way? Get one of these. There it is.
Yay!
I quit. This is why I do it. I do it for you guys. This actually starts a run of Wrestling Inc. shows for me. My face is going to be on a bunch of after shows. If you hated me before, you'll definitely hate me come Saturday, but it all starts tomorrow. No Mercy after show, myself and Glenn Rubenstein breaking down the NXT PLE out of Denver.
I need everybody, by the way, to hit that like button after that glorious fuse we just did. That we earned it. We should have 500, at least 500 likes on the YouTube channel by the time this is done. But thank you. By the way, also, I want to say that you can check both of us out on Draped in Gold every Wednesday morning. You and I, we cover NXT there.
For now.
We'll see what happens. And we gotta pop a number one last time before we get booted off because of CW. But for now, guys, this has been great. Really enjoyed it. Next time, we will see you tomorrow on Wrestling Inc. with Flobo and Glenn chatting all about No Mercy. That does it for us. We're hitting the end stream button.